everyone. Welcome back to She Works Podcast. Today's guest is Anthony Trucks. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome to my podcast.
Well, thank you. I appreciate having me come hang out with you.
Thank you for coming on. So, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a former NFL athlete, which is interesting. I started with that, but at the core of me, I'm a man of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I happen to also be a former NFL athlete, an American Ninja Warrior on NBC. I did that 3 times. But I'm also a speaker, a coach, and an author. So I write books and I travel the world and talk, and I get to work with people and teach them how to make shift happen through stories from my life and then things I've created that are processed to help them improve their lives.
Wow. When I was reading your page, I did not know a lot of those, a lot of kids are from the foster care system. I did not know that. And a lot of them end up homeless and in prison. And I did not know that at all.
Funny as I didn't actually find that statistic out until my early 30s. So, there's about 400 plus thousand foster kids in California alone. And yeah, if you look at any prison in America, the entire country, 75% of the inmates have spent time in foster care. Half the homeless population have spent time in foster care. And then, less than 1% of us will ever graduate from college. So, statistically, we are not in a good position to succeed in life.
Wow. I did not even know that. I learned a lot from going on your website. I was like, I did not even know that at all. It makes me want to foster kids now, but I don't know if I'm ready for that right now.
Yeah, that's something you got to make sure, but you don't want to bring somebody and be like, maybe I'll see if you'll work out. You kind of got to be ready for that one.
So, can you tell our listeners what a transformational identity shift coach is, and what do you do?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I find that there are a lot of things in our world that we know. A lot of us know things we're supposed to do. The problem is that they don't get done consistently or at all. And so I was looking what is the issue we run into? Because I don't think we have a shortage of information. I think there's almost too much information in this world. You can find anything at your fingertips, but in order for your life to change, you have to do stuff with that. And I find that most of the issues don't have to do with people's inability to execute, but it's not who they are to do that thing. It's out of character. And what I found was the core of us, the root, it's who we see ourselves to be at an identity level. Because if your identity is to succeed, to eat healthy, to work out, to communicate well in your relationships, if that's who you are, well, then lo and behold, you'll have a great business, make good money, have great relationships, be healthy. But it's usually a separation between who I see myself to be and the person that I need to be at a core level to have that. I call it an identity gap. And so a lot of us are walking around all day with this vision of what we want, but there's a gap, and it's not the information. It's just the gap of who I see myself to be. So I help you transform and shift your identity into that.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Because
It's
I
a
was
different.
reading that on your on your website, and I was like, what is that?
Mhm.
And when I was depressed last year, I was like, I have to make a change in my life. I have to do something because the last time I tried to commit suicide, I was
Mhm.
like, I don't want my life to be this. I don't want to keep replaying that in my head. So I was
Yep.
like, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to
Mhm.
start podcasting more often, and it has changed my life. But I think that would be something I would look into, a transformational identity shift coach.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is the process we use is called the shift method, and I created it years ago, and it works amazing. We have clients that come in, and I've had a client actually say, he came in and it was responsible for him making $1 million in his business. Now, it's not always the same for everybody, but there's base of it, but it's also people lose weight, hundreds of pounds. We have people that come in and, they end up fixing marriages. So the cool part is it's a process that you can actually not have to work with me to go through. It's harder, obviously, on your own, but it's in my new book. Actually, it comes out in August. But the process is there, and if you can understand it and adhere to it, you'd find at the back end of it. The cool thing is you don't just transform arbitrarily. It actually happens through achievement. So the way that I work, I'm a hands-on guy. Used to play in the NFL, so I'm like a playbook guy. Here's the play. Let's go execute. Is the way I look at it. So it's not like sit on the couch and think about great things and your life will change. It's a piece of
Mhm.
it, but I'm more of what do we got to do to get there? And so the process is doing it with intention and creating with intention of not just achieving, but also making sure I'm doing this so that I feel like that person I'll become in time. So the process is something anybody can do from any position they're at in life, no matter where you're starting and no matter where you want to go. It's just a matter of walking through our method and applying it. So yeah, you can most definitely either work with our company, we could help you, or if you just read the book and oh, here's the stuff, you can do it on your own.
Nice. So can we purchase your book when it comes out on your website that I'll
Yeah.
link below? Okay.
Actually, you can get it at it's actually identityshiftbook.com. And if you use the code SBP, She Blurbs Podcast, it's a cool little code I got just for you.
Oh,
What
okay.
people will get is that they can get the book, and then afterwards, what happens is they then go to the site and they bring the receipt from getting on Amazon or wherever they get it from, and they use that code SBP. And the first 10 people will get an additional book that's signed by me and sent to them from my home to their home. But everybody will also get an audiobook for free. They get the digital book if they want to read on their phone or a tablet, and they'll also get a workbook. And the workbook is really, I think, that the extra added value, in my opinion, because it allows somebody to take the concepts of a book and then have a process to work through with, like the best modules that we have in our coaching programs to really ingrain the process.
Oh, I like that. So what specific areas do you focus on when you're coaching?
It depends on the person. So what's cool is we all have our own buckets to kind of look at and find the holes, we'll call it. So the process in and of itself, it's not cookie cutter because you're a different person, but the process of humanity and how we work through things are. So the three stages are essentially see, shift, sustain. The C phase is taking a look at what your specific things are that you have to work on. Because if you don't look at that, you could find yourself working for years and not making any progress because you just were doing the wrong work. But once you're able to see your areas, and it's not always fun to see them, you then get to work. And that work that you get to do is based upon your specific needs and your desires. And then from there, if you can sustain it, that's how the shift takes place over time.
Oh, okay. That's neat. Because I've always wanted to understand how does it work for coaches. Like when I go to my therapist, I'm like, how is she gonna get down to
She wings it.
what
Yeah.
is wrong with me? Like
Yeah.
how do you all do that? Like how does that happen?
It's always different. The best coaches in the world, if you think about like sports, they have plays, right? The best coach have a playbook or some, it could be basketball, soccer, there's a play. For me, I realize in my realm, I can't have your success on pretty much me having a good day or not having a good day. Like if I wake up and I'm tired and you have a problem, like I can't just show up that day and hope we're going to get a result. So for me, I extracted the process out of me, and it's actually in videos and in worksheets and in this book. And so what you do is you walk yourself through that. I mean, it's been detailed and dialed in, every module structured. I actually spent 60 hours one on one working with a woman who's a doctor of education to teach me how to teach. I was like, I want to be able to take the concepts, make sure they're anchored, and I want to get them into people's heads and hearts. And she walked me through all of it years ago. And so since then, I've just developed some really great foundational pieces that if you walk through them and do them the way they're told, and a lot of it's, here's a cool thing, it's not consumption like testing. Like some things you have to consume it and then go apply it, where a lot of the stuff we do is internal. Like I'm asking questions, I'm doing some research on people I see, I'm setting my life up in a certain way, and then I'm launching some things in the world of just doing what I already do, but doing it with more intention and cleaner. So a lot of the work we do is very straightforward, but it's not guesswork. I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of coaches in the realm of what I do is they say, hey, I've experienced this and I can speak real well, come hire me. And then you hop on the phone call and they go, okay, what are we doing today? Like that doesn't happen with me. Today it's like, hey, what'd you do last time? Did you get that work done? Okay, here's step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And we're working in a progression towards a place. So everything momentumly builds on itself. We get to the place and we're good.
Oh, that's nice. So what do you love most about being a coach?
People, man. I love humans. Like I grew up in foster care, and so for me, I was not really respected and seen as a human. I think by a lot of people that had me in there, and so I have this for a lot of years. Had a lot of disdain for humanity. I was like people. I didn't like people, but I had a foster mom who adopted me and loved me out of all like my hard spots, we'll call it. And so I came to like enjoy people, and when I work with people, it's not something where they're a number or I'm not aware. Like I'm aware of almost every single client we have in our company, like what they're doing, where they're at. I celebrate their wins. I think there's a special spot that people are built for, that somehow God created me for, where I do something I love, which is I love to help people, guide people, and watch them win, and they love that I do it. That there's a sweet spot when you have that. And so for me, the best part is seeing people get in with me and have that, like they're closed off, a little bit shut down, that they're a little bit lost, and then they leave the program a completely different vision of themselves. They're experiencing like different, they feel different, they talk different. That's the most fun for me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So what's the biggest challenge you helped one of your clients through?
Man, there's a couple. we've had a client who his wife, she cheated on him, and they've been together for a long time, and we were able to get through, like, because I mean, in my marriage, I don't know if you know much about my marriage, but my wife had an affair years ago. We got divorced for 3 years, and it was the whole back and forth, I hate you, custody battle, all that. And then 3 years later, we had a lot of work we did, and really kind of came back together. We have an amazing marriage right now. So I've walked through some of those dark pits, and so that was one where it was the emotional of like, man, how do I lay with my woman again? How do I get back to this point of having respect for how we fix this marriage? So we actually got that marriage in a great place. It's amazing. I've done it with some friends from high school as well in that capacity. I've had a guy, I don't know if I should share his name, but maybe I'm happy to. His name's Melvin. Melvin ended up losing like 100+ pounds, went from working at a small office at his church to now owns 3 practices for his therapy businesses. Like, he's built an amazing business. We had a guy that sold a business for $1 million, and then inherently, because of the process leading to the business being sold, thought that he wasn't the guy to have a big business again. He thought it was an accident. So he's making like $3,000 a month, and he couldn't break past it. And so he figured out where a lot of his areas that he needed to see were, and started working differently. And he messaged me, I want to say a month ago. And he said, hey man, just want to let you know, from our work to progressing to now, he's like, I have brought into the business 1,056, or sorry, $1,056,000. So we've done a whole lot of different cool stuff. We've had clients that launched programs and in 4 weeks made 95,000 in their businesses. Like, it's, and I say the numbers and the business in the back end, because for me, business is great, but the biggest, most important thing is, how are you running your life? Like for me and you right now, we're recording this, and my daughter's swim meet took precedent over this. Not because I don't care about you, I do, but like, I live my life in a way where I'm gonna walk my talk. Like, and so family's first, and it shows up that way. So the people I work with, those are all products of them being able to release the anxiety at home to usually show up better in their careers, their businesses, and it all blossoms.
Definitely. See, my mom and my family said I have an advantage because I don't have any kids. So
Yeah,
they're like, you have an advantage. You can do anything you want to do, and you like podcasting, and you want to own have your own TV show. They're like, do it,
do
do
it,
it.
do it. I'm all, yeah. I have some big weird. When my kids, my oldest is about to go to college next year. My twins are 12. They'll be in, probably 6 years. They'll be gone. But I have a really interesting desire to, like, when my kids are all gone, it's just me, and my wife. Like, we're gonna be nomadic, but I want to try my hand at, like, acting and doing TV show stuff, because I'll still be young. I'll be 44 when the kids leave the house, and so yeah, man, I'm gonna go try my hand at just craziness of life, because why not? Like, if you can go and experience it a different way, like, go do that.
Definitely, because I've been reading the books. Alex Cross. I don't know if you know about Alex Cross, and I
Yeah.
feel like you would be the lead in Alex Cross.
It's
So
possible. Yeah, yeah, I'll try
that
it out. Hey, I'm down for anything. I'm gonna put my neck out there, see what happens.
So, what is the biggest obstacle you have come overcome in your own life?
Me. I think that's me. I mean, seriously, I'm not even saying it, just that when I came out of the NFL and I got into the post, football career, there's a massive ego that I carried. And a lot of us do have egos that may not be, the football ego. It could just be the I don't want anyone to see me sweat kind of ego. And I call it everyone's greatest obstacle. Because in order for us to improve in any capacity, we have to give ourselves permission to improve. And a lot of us don't want to have anybody, see that we're not perfect. So our ego protects the place we're at by, actions, and then we never grow. So I was the biggest obstacle of actually giving myself permission to say, hey, you're not a good dad. You're not being a great husband. You're not a very good business owner. You're not taking care of things the way you should in life. And so when I was able to get out of my own way, I was able to actually pursue and achieve much more.
Yes. So how did you do that though? Like, how do you get out of your own way to achieve much more?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do?
Yeah, the how is great. The how is the process we use. The shift method is what we'd use. That's exactly what it's designed for. 'Cause I pretty much woke up one day in 2016, looked in the mirror, and like I remember not having any care for the guy. I hated the guy looking back at me. And so that was like the catalyst. And to be honest, the how of it was, I had to have some really hard conversations with people around me to start to see who I was. There's a statement that I love, and it goes, it's hard to see the label when you're inside the jar.
Mhm.
So when you're living your life, you're most of the time pleasantly unaware of the things you're doing, how you're treating people, and most people won't tell you. But if you go down and like you bite your tongue and you ask some certain questions, people start to kind of unveil to you who you are, and it's not fun. I think it actually starts to hurt the heart. It feels like an attack at times, to be honest. And so what I came to find was like that was the first step. And then when I did that, it was like, all right, Now I got to work on it. Now I can't tell them you're wrong, you're crazy. I have to actually stop and go, yeah, I got to work on this. And so that was the step, was first letting people tell me and show me who I was. And then secondly, admitting that I got to work on it. And then you get to work.
Yeah, definitely. So, what advice would you give those who want to take that step to be a better person, like,
Mhm.
but are afraid of change?
And we're all afraid of change. If you think about it,
Mhm.
I tell first off, change is the reason why you have the good things in your life. You don't smell, so you change your clothes, right? That's because you decided to make a change in some capacity. But realistically, change is just new. It's not bad. And I think if we can accept that change is a positive, it'll actually give us a hope for good, not just a fear of the bad. And to be honest, if you want to know like what to do, I'd say reach out to us. That's what we do on a daily basis. We spend time in people's lives, guiding them through our process called the shift method to shift not only just how they feel inside, but their entire lives outside. If you're like, hey, I just need to figure out what the first step is, like, to be honest, it's breathe, take a step back, and realize you got to start doing things that are outside the norm. I tell people all the time, is like people go, it feels odd. Well, of course it feels odd. You haven't been doing it, but those are the things that bring you what you want. So if it doesn't feel funky or weird, you're probably not doing the right things.
Mhm. That's true. That's true. I want to thank you so much, Anthony, for coming on my podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Hey everyone, I want to thank you all so much for listening to my interview with Anthony Trucks. If you want to purchase his book, he stated the link in the interview. So if you go back and listen to the interview, the link is he says the link. So, and if you want to find out how to hire him as a transformational coach, then you can go on his website. I've linked it below. It is anthonytrucks.com. And also, I have a buy me a coffee link that I've linked to this podcast, and I donate a percentage of the profits that I make to freedom writers. So I hope you all support the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for sharing and for your comments and your positive vibes. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.